don't mind tonight. Play for Eva.
Depends. Well, your friend, the football will be there.
Oh, friend, football friend. Oh, what a superb goal. Stefan Moore, that is extraordinary from Ben Garuccio.
And welcome back to another episode of Football Friends with Ben and Stef. This is the big man Scholesy, and on the other end we've got Ben, who's absolutely buzzing after that derby win.
Yeah, it was a good one. Big game. I think now that the game's done, you can say, fuck, thank God we won, because it was a little bit nerve-wracking, I suppose, the position that we're in on the ladder, where we were a couple of weeks ago, and then maybe where we found ourselves before our game. And then obviously the fact
Or
that, we
2 minutes
lost that
in.
first derby. Yeah, I mean, not the ideal start. I honestly think, though, I actually do think that it's better to concede than conceding, I suppose, after 20 minutes. Like if
Yeah.
they've had momentum for 20 minutes and then they score, it's like, oh, fuck, like they've deserved this goal kind of thing. Not to say that it wasn't deserved, but it was just so early that you couldn't really tell if anyone's playing well or not playing well. It was just one of those, just what a goal.
Well,
To be honest,
literally
like,
the exact
what
same
can you
thing
say?
happened in our game. Like, we conceded early as well. Ours was from a mistake, but it's kind of the same thing where, yeah, like you're so early in the game, you almost don't really think about it. You don't feel like you're 1-0 behind because it just restarts again and you're like, oh, this is the start of the match. But you guys, even like watching it, because I watched it on delay, it's not like you started and you were just off it. Like, the ball, like there was a long ball from you, like there was a few second balls. It's not like you were just like completely off it, but maybe looking at it, you'd say Ryan Grant probably needs to get a tiny bit closer to him and show him like down the line. That's if you want to be fucking critical of everything. But at the same time, if someone's in that position, you don't want to get too close and then he beats you. So it's one of those ones where sometimes you just like fucking say hats off, like unbelievable. And that's obviously what they brought Ryan Fraser in for. But then after that, you guys look like you're the dominant team. Was there a lot of chatter out on the field? Obviously, there was a lot to talk about off the field in some of the comments, which we'll go into afterwards. But was there a bit of talk on the field?
Yeah, there was. Well, I think there was a little bit of chat out there. I think I don't really get involved in it too much. I think there was, after one of the goals, I think it was Ryan Grant, like went up to Panthers and he's kind of like celebrating to him. I think in one of them, like I kind of ran past and I was just like, I didn't say anything to him, but I'm just like running past, like directly past him. I'm just like got my arms out like that, like just running past him.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was a stage in the game where Hammond goes to me, like, I used to like you, because I was obviously just so in the game that, like, I think I've like kind of threw him on a throw in. Like I threw him like over like the little like dugout, those little like things that are on the floor. He was trying to like pick up the ball and I just kind of nudged him and he fell over. And then there was another one where he's dribbling and he's got good feet and I'm like, I'm just going to fucking smash him. So I just smashed him on the halfway line. I got a yellow card for that one and he was probably thinking like, fucking hell, like, what's wrong with this guy? But I think you need to be in the game like that. I think I was, up for it. And I think you got to be up for it in those derby games. I think like if you're not going to kind of buy into the occasion, you got to understand what it means for the fans. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like that's who you're playing for. Yeah, you're playing for yourself, you're playing for the badge, but you're playing for the fans. Like they're paying money. They want to see you fight. They want to be the best team in Sydney. And I think that's the way you need to play in a match like that as well. So I think that was the pleasing thing, that we really matched the fight, matched them physically. And then our football came through. Obviously, we scored some good goals. And I think it was lucky for us that we scored so early on to get that equaliser back. And then, the game's level again.
I don't think you were actually playing that well until you scored that goal. And even the goal, like it wasn't the best by is Campazzuno? Is that how you say his name?
Campazano, yeah.
Campazano. Like he actually took way too long, and it just was fortunate that it's gone through Thomas's leg or legs. But yeah, sometimes that's what you need for a bit of momentum change, and then you do have the home crowd. And I think there was like a bit of talk before the game, and even I saw heaps of stuff on, from different podcasts, we can say, about, is the derbies Are they dead? You know, you've got Teague going to City, you've got Arzani going to City, and do they even care? And then I saw a lot of the fan comments saying, nah, the players don't care, that's why it's shit. And I don't think it's true. I think it's one of those things that, you know, you're going to the team that wants you and is paying you money. You can't be like, I'm not going to go to this team because they're the rival of the old one or that, because you just go where you're going to get an opportunity to play and earn the best salary and going to be the best for your career. But once you're in the four walls, once you're in at a certain club, like, I think players really do buy into we hate the other team, and it's genuine in those games because you can see it. Like Pantazopoulos, you know, he's going to be hated, so he's got to get used to kind of that tag. He can chat to me if he wants, and I'll give him some advice. But like, I actually think there's nothing wrong with what he's saying. Maybe the comments, like I probably wouldn't have done the videos like about the, you know, weakest piss. I didn't see that until after when Joe Lolly posted it and it kind of floated about. And but you know what? It does actually create a lot of theatre, like for the game. It's just you're putting a target on your back, and you know, maybe some of the boys in the team from West Sydney would be like, fuck, we don't like this. And maybe the coaches are like, fuck, we don't want this because it's causing extra pressure. Or maybe they're like, you know what, we don't care but just because you make that video, when you go out there, are you going to play any differently? I don't think so personally, but you do look a little bit silly now, and he's got to kind of crawl back into the hole a little bit and go again and wait for the next derby. But it's good. It's actually just really good for the game because we don't have a lot of hype and a lot of media, and when stuff like that happens, it's creating the media for the social media and the APL teams out there without them actually having to do much. So what do you actually, like, if you take yourself out of being a Sydney FC player, because it's obviously, it's different when you're in it and it's against you. I would be the exact same way. I sometimes will, and I know I'm rambling on here, but I'll sometimes be like, I fucking hate that player. And then could be someone on your team and you'd be like, yeah, but he's actually a good guy. He's just a wanker on the field. And then you'd be like, he's fucking like you. And I'd be like, oh yeah, true. Okay. So he's a good guy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
What's your opinion taking the Sydney FC hat off?
Yeah, obviously with the Sydney FC hat on and you read, like, you're listening to that stuff and you're reading that stuff, and you're like, also for me it was a bit, it compounded a little bit because you had then all the pundits that were saying, yeah, I back Western Sydney, like all of them. Like I saw on one of the A-League posts, and it's like Tommy Orr, Daniel McBreen, like all of them saying like, yeah, we back Western Sydney. I'm thinking like, fucking hell, like we're playing at Allianz, we're 3 points from the top of the league. These guys are 11th. And I'm like, fucking, like, it just felt a little bit disrespectful. So I was like, nah, fuck this. You know, you got like Pantazopoulos coming out saying that stuff. And obviously in the heat of the moment, like after the game, what I said, it was kind of a little bit backhanded. I'm the same. Like, I don't mind it. I get it. I get the social media. For me personally, I think the game should be marketed better, and it shouldn't be up to individual players to come out and say things to then get a little bit of hype around the game. I think that's shit. I think it's one of those things that if he's going to come out and say that, then you also then got to cop it afterwards. Just like even with my comments, I was copying it on Instagram saying, you know, you're saying, oh, don't talk, but then you've got a podcast, and it's like, all right, like, no worries. Like, I'm not really here to talk shit about anyone. Like, I completely agree. I think he probably is a nice guy. Like, I spoke to him after the game. For me, once the game's done, it's nothing to go on and be like, oh yeah, you fucking hero, you think this and that. Like, I shook his hand at the end of the game. Well done, all the best. Move on. Like, at the end of the day, for me, the most important thing is win the game. I don't know if I'd want to talk up something too much beforehand, because I know that football is a funny game, and it's the same as us on this podcast. Like, we could sit here, be smashing a team, smashing a coach. We got to go out and play in that same league. So for me, it doesn't sit right that I can sit here and smash people or smash a team too much, because if then we go out and play these teams and they beat us, they're going to say, oh, listen to this fucking idiot. He was talking about us on his podcast and now we've just smashed him. So I think we're probably senior players and we kind of understand that side. He's obviously younger. It is what it is. I pounced on the moment.
Yeah. And like, I think it's probably also completely different. Like I remember when I said that thing about Kilkenny, and that was like heat of the moment. You know, you don't have any time to think. It's at half time. Someone's just come over to you with a camera and a microphone, and you've responded to something. And for you, for example, it's in the change room straight after the game. Like, the emotions, like, you've just been out there, like, literally fighting, scrapping for everything, the adrenaline from that, the crowd, the lights. like you're very amped up, so you're not thinking that clearly. So when something gets said like that, you're going to respond to it, and I don't think you responded to it too badly at all, to be honest. Um, but it's just one of those ones that, like, if you're going to say it before the game happens, then like you got to try and back it
Yeah.
up. And
For me,
I,
like
yeah,
when the teams like the social media teams are posting stuff before the game, even sometimes like when like teams social media like is posting too much stuff, I'm kind of a bit like, oh, like, like
like
just,
victories have done it a few times against
yeah,
City, right?
and
Yeah,
they've said they've got a bit of a curse. Like every time they post something about this, they lose or whatever. Like whatever it is, but even that, I don't even like that. And that, to be honest, like that is exactly what I'm saying. The clubs themselves and the league and the marketing, they should be doing that and hyping the game up. But even that, when I see it, I'm like, oh fuck, like why are you posting that? Like let's just fucking go and win the game. But maybe that's the old school mentality in me a little bit. But at the same time, I think social media and media itself, it's a part of the game. You got to embrace it.
yeah,
I don't mind it, but yeah, if you give it out, then you got to be prepared to take it. I think if you're someone that's going to talk and be outspoken, then be prepared to take it. If you are and you're happy with that, no problems. Do whatever you want to do. That's my take on it.
yeah, yeah. Like some people really believe in like, you jinx yourself, or, like it's karma or whatever it is. Like, I just think like in that situation, if a social media team's going to do it, one, you're going to cop it if you do lose. But I also think like, well, that's if Melbourne Victory have put something up, the players haven't seen it potentially because it's before the game, or it's not actually changing what the players are going to do. It's not changing what the coaches coached them and analysed the opposition and got the tactics in the starting 11. Like for me, it's like once you go out there to play, you're playing to win. And what you've said beforehand should never really come into your head. And if it has, then you've got a bigger problem because you're not present. You're you're thinking about the past and something that you've said, which is probably a bigger issue in itself. Uh, and that's just the way of the world now. Like social media is good because it creates not rivalries but banter and these interactions and analytics that people want now in businesses, to kind of gauge where they're at. So there's always going to be, it's only going to become more prevalent. I think the biggest thing now, I think compared to back in the day, is whatever you say can keep getting brought up again and again and again. And like Rodri, for example, from Manchester City, I remember a year or two ago, Arsenal were complaining about something, and he came out saying, they've got a loser's mentality pretty much. They're complaining about everything, just worry about winning yourselves. And on the weekend, they've got a goal that maybe could have been disallowed, and he's come out and done the exact same thing. And I saw comments straight away saying, yeah, some winning mentality. You can see, when things are going against you, you can see your true mindset and your true character. And I'm like, fuck, it's pretty harsh, but it's true. Like he's come out now and said that about Arsenal. So you're going to cop it because you're doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, and they cop it probably 10 times more because people will remember what you said maybe 3 years ago and they'll still bring it up. Whereas I think for us, we kind of get away with it a little bit more just because it's not as much in the spotlight. But anyway, that's enough about our game. I, for one, have been speaking about it enough. So
Sure.
On to you, and obviously you had the Shoppy Cup, the big game that you were speaking about against Selangor. You guys went down, but obviously massive game that you had in the league, and you guys managed to win that. Obviously went down 1-0 early and then won it at the end. How were both the games, and how's the body after not playing a lot of football and now getting straight back into it?
Yeah, I think if we had the choice of, the two results, if we had to lose one and win one, I think I would prefer, what's happened. Like it's disappointing because 95%, 98%, probably even more, we're out of the Chirpy Cup. We've got one more game against Tampines Rovers tomorrow, actually. But, it means that it's less games for us because the semi-finals are double leg if we got through and the finals double leg. So that's 4 games, the travel that we miss out on, and now we can focus on the league and the Champions League. The big one against Ninh, both teams were undefeated. And, they've been undefeated for 50 games because they went and got promoted last year in the second division. They've got national team players that they bought in to win the second division because the owner's very wealthy. So I don't know here in the media who was saying who's favourites, or I think Ninh were the favourites for the league.
You can't read the Vietnamese and that in the paper yet?
Nah, haven't really picked up the language or the letters, but it's it was pretty similar to your game in like we conceded in the first couple minutes, but then after that, in the first half, we destroyed them. Like we had all the ball, we had all the chances. We went 1-1, 2-1 up from a penalty from VAR. Then they got a red card, and this is what happens a lot in Asian football, not so much in Australia, but the time wasting is just crazy. If a team's up, like it doesn't matter if it's the first minute they score, they just waste so much time. Our team's not like it. Even if we are winning, maybe we should be smarter. But, these guys were taking like 2 minutes to take a free kick. They're going to get the ball from a throw in and leaving the first ball, getting the second ball, all these small little things. And was it the left back? Yeah, the right back. He's gone to take a throw in and he's pretended to tie his boot up on his left foot. Then he's switched legs to his right to do that as well. And the ref's just come over and he's a Malaysian referee that they brought in for this game. And he gave him a yellow straight away and it was early. And I was like, fucking fair play. Like, that's bullshit. Like, waste time, I get be smart. But like, you're not doing your laces up for one because they're done up. And you're doing both of them. And then about 10 minutes later, he went in for a tackle, which was a horrible tackle. Could have been, I think, a straight red from the angle I was on. And he got his second yellow and was off. And then we went 3-1 up after that. And then the game was, it was pretty hard to lose when you're 3-1 up in an extra player. We went 3-2 from another mistake of ours. But then, we kind of closed it out. And now we go 2 points clear with a game in hand, or 1 or 2 points clear with a game in hand. And yeah, I think full of confidence for the rest of the season.
And what about for the ACL too? Obviously, that's going to be a massive one as well.
Yeah,
are you guys hoping to progress in that?
Yeah, of course. I think like the goal is to win the league. That's been the goal of the club. I think at the start it was we're in 5 competitions, including the Super Cup. Let's win them all. But realistically, I think it was the league, the cup, the Super Cup, and Chirpy Cup were realistic. Chirpy Cup obviously we're out. League Cup we lost on penalties. We won the Super Cup. But the league was the biggest one because they've only ever won it once before, and that was a few years back. So we want to win that, and then the Champions League is going as deep as we can. And the funny thing is now we literally play like the Tampine Rovers 3 times in a row because our other league game has been postponed, and then it's Lunar New Year here, so it's the big holidays. And I don't really know what's going to happen. I'll find out at training today. Like, we can't really go through. So I don't know if he's going to rest players for this game or he's going to want to win because it's obviously good to win. But then it's like, do you want to kind of show how you play against the team you're going to be playing in a Champions League game that's home and away as well? But then they're in the same boat where if they win, they might go through. They've got a better chance than us. But also they've got to travel here, play a league game and then come back next week. So it's like, it's really, I've never been in this situation before where obviously you're playing so many times in such a short period and you don't want to give away too much. So do you play a different system? Do you play different personnel? I don't know. I'm really interested to see what happens with our coach and what he decides to do, and also for them.
Yeah, that's really weird. I would just play a different team, to be honest. I play a different team. I play like the young boys, not really show too much. Yeah, like if you're happy with just saying, look, like we're going to be out, let's focus on the league, let's focus on ACL2, hope that we can just go as far as we can in ACL2. Like you guys have got a good draw now. Realistically, you would expect to win these games. So why not not sack it off the Chirpy Cup, but just cut your losses and be like, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's put our full focus on that league, ACL2, and then that's it.
Yeah,
But,
I agree. I think
I'm
that's
not a gaffer.
I think the only reason why maybe is like because if we've only played 2 games since we've been back. If we don't play on Wednesday tomorrow, then it's like 10 days in between, the game that we played on Sunday and the next Wednesday. So it's like then it's a pretty big break. But I also feel as if, we've played 2 games. So like you've got the match minutes in the legs. We'll be okay. The next one's at home. It's easier, the conditions, we know what we're going to face. So I agree with you. I think probably giving the second 11 like match minutes is also good for them. And, you just never know if injuries come up, so at least they're match fit. But it's just not a weird situation. Sometimes you see it in the Premier League with Champions League and Premier League or, League Cup. Arsenal are playing Chelsea a couple times and then they're playing them in the league and I think in 2 weeks' time as well. So it's weird. but that's different because they really know each other. This is like we're from different leagues, so like the element of surprise is there, right? And you don't want to give that away, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Either way, we just need to keep winning, and then hopefully I'm in MacArthur, and then we can go and play 18 holes of golf. Hopefully, if we come early, and I can dust you up by then, month's time or something, I should be a bit better. Just
Yeah, we'll
fucking
see.
work on that
We'll see.
takeaway.
Just worry about winning your games first.
Yeah, yeah, I should. That's exactly right. That's the most important. But anyway, back onto a bit of A-League chat. And the Jets for me are. You said it last week. I think you were probably raving about them a bit more. You've probably seen them more, but Brisbane are a tough team to beat and score against. But they scored, what was it? It was 4, right, in the end.
Yeah,
Um,
4.
and I think 12,000 odd in the crowd. It's taken a bit of time for the fans to actually jump on them. I think the fans should have probably been there a bit earlier to support them, but they're finally there, and now they've got Adelaide away. So it would have been great if they had another home game, but now they've really, I think, turned things around at the club. And I don't know if you heard Millsy's press conference or after the game when he was just speaking about, the local boys and, he really playing the style that represents the people of the Newcastle community. And it's kind of like, not a bit of bullshit, but it's a bit of like every coach can talk about this and we want to have this style but like it's one thing to say it and then to actually go and like back it up. And I loved what he said and then how he said, now the players that go out there, they put their twist on it. And they're local boys, so they know what it's like and they understand it. And I think everyone at the club seems to be doing a lot right.
Yeah. Well, I think that's another thing you spoke about, that everyone in the club is kind of pulling in the same direction. And, it's hats off to everyone, obviously not just him and the players, but everyone else. So there's obviously been a bit of a rebuild at Newcastle since the new ownership. And obviously speaking with guys like Jason Hoffman, people, I think having people like that inside the club, he's obviously just left recently, but having people like that inside the club that are really
Just the Hoff
working,
left.
really yeah, I think so. I think
Did he?
so. Maybe I'm not meant to say that, but I'm not sure if
I
he's
didn't
there
know.
anymore.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
So yeah, having people like that have a deep rooted connection to the club and genuinely care, and obviously even if they don't, having the right people and good people is the most important. I think Millsy seems like a good person. I think a lot of their players seem like good young pros that are willing to learn. And I think if you look at the football they're playing, it kind of speaks for itself. Like we've said it a million times, like these players, a lot of them have now had the time for the last couple of years to actually get games in, and now they're kind of reaping the rewards. I think for a long time they were kind of thrown in maybe when they weren't ready, but you've got a lot of that team now that have actually got a lot of A-League experience. For me, yeah, they do. They look like the most exciting team. I think they look like the most exciting team in the league. Whether they're able to sustain this across the whole season and into finals remains to be seen. But I think right now, look, they've just won 5 in a row for the first time in their history. I know you're going to always doubt young players and doubt this and
Yeah.
doubt that. Can they sustain it? But realistically, they've had probably better squads on paper that haven't been able to do this.
Yeah, and everybody on here knows I love talking about Arsenal. It's the same situation with like until you
It's
do
fucking
it.
2 already this episode.
What can I say? Until you actually do it, until you win the title, people can always talk and say, "Oh, they're going to bottle it," or "They've never done this." But of course, you couldn't say that. But the reality is, like with Newcastle, like they are doing it right now, and I think it does change a little bit in finals because that's probably like a lot of their players probably haven't played finals. So it's like, this is knockout. Yes, they won the Australia Cup, but it's a bit different. Like finals comes around and it's like, all right, if they finish top 2, it's obviously they've got the playoff, semi-final home and away. So it's kind of different. It's the nerves, it's the expectation, it's the building up of that game in their own heads. Can they handle that? I don't know. But I think if you're actually looking at the way they play, will it hold up? Yes, it's fast, it's exciting, it's brave. Everything that you kind of want to see in a team. Yes, they've got a few mistakes in them because they play out from the back, but I feel like from the start of the season till now, they've really limited those mistakes, and they've probably worked on a few things, not getting caught in certain areas. So I'm yeah, I'm all in on them because I think everybody else is so inconsistent. For them to win 5 in a row, they're the only team that's actually been able to do anything half decent. You guys, are smashing Wanderers one week and then stinking the next. Auckland even, they've been good, but I don't think they've been great. City are all over the shop. Brisbane, who were flying and now dropped. Like I just think the Jets are the only one that are actually consistently doing it. So it's yeah, it's going to be interesting. And then moving on to Melbourne City, who's probably, we spoke about them pushing back up. Maybe they saved themselves with that draw. Coming back from 2-0 down, I think not just the 1 point from the game, but kind of the belief that that can bring back to the group with some players to come in Delbridge and Arzani. That might be what they needed, because if they lost that after getting smashed by MacArthur, could almost put a line through them with the Champions League. But do you think they're still a bit of a dark horse?
I think they can be, but I think people forget and underestimate how hard it is to be in the two competitions. Like, it's tough. I think Sydney experienced it last year. It's like Sydney missed out on finals last year. And if you look at their squad and on paper, they were unbelievable. Like, that for me is one of the best A-League teams maybe ever on paper. And firepower, everyone they had. But they missed out. And I think they really struggled with the travel, the ACL. And they were in the ACL too. So Melbourne City are in the ACL Elite playing against top opposition every other week. I think it's really, really hard. And in the A-League, we just don't have big enough squads. What's your take? Like, you've played in the ACL before.
I think their kind of league form is not actually being affected by the ACL. It's easy for me to say. I just think it's maybe the injuries that have come, and maybe these injuries have happened because of the ACL and the travel, or it's just coincidence with, Matt Leckie's getting a bit older, he's not able to get on the park, and, Naboo's coming back from long-term injury, and they've had a few others here or there. It could be because of the travel. It could be as well because they came back from their season very late because they won it last year, so they went to the grand final. They came back late. They were in the Champions League early, so they were probably, prepping for those games earlier, pushing the players harder, and that's maybe caused it. Like, without knowing what's going on there, obviously you just don't know. I think it's lucky the position they're in the ACL, that hopefully they can, win their first game after this break, and that almost secures them into the next round, and then they can focus a bit more on the league. But it's just one of those ones where, like, they just haven't looked the same as what they looked last year. They've been defensively very solid in a lot of games up until late, and they've started to kind of creep in, conceding more goals. And I still think if they get their best team out there, like Eunice has looked really good. I think he's going to be starting probably for them this week after the two bench kind of appearances. Once Arzani gets back, you have him on the other kind of wing. Delbridge potentially comes in, which shores up your defence if you want to drop, Suprain or Ferreira, and, Teague a few more games. I still think when I look at that team, I'm like, man, that's a good A-League team. Atkinson, Aziz Beach in goals. So they've got everything on paper. It's just, football is so much about confidence, and if you're winning games, everybody's flying. So I think, they just need to start winning, and I think they've got Western Sydney this week. So
away.
Those
it's
two
actually
teams,
a massive game.
Yeah, like it's not the end of the world if you lose for either of them. But I would say if Western Sydney lose, they're done from finals. I just don't see them turning it around. And if Melbourne City lose, I think it puts a massive, massive question mark over them as well, just because other teams are going to pick up points, and you're expected to go on a bit of a run. So we'll
they're not
we'll
far
see.
off, Melbourne City. Like, they're
Yeah.
6 points off the top. Yeah, they've played maybe an extra game or two than some teams, but it's 6 points. Like, it's fuck all, realistically. Like, if
Yeah,
they go and
it's
win
not
their
a
next
lot.
three, all of a sudden they shoot straight back up there. They may be sitting third or fourth, and people are going, fuck, they're going to be dangerous coming into finals. We could easily be sitting here and saying that in a couple of weeks. So you never know. I think that's just about putting consistent results together. That's been the struggle.
Yeah, no, it's there's still many ups and downs to go with it. I just think the problem is if you start dropping more points, like other teams are also going to be getting points, so you kind of go further away, and then you're really relying on them to drop points for you to get in, and that's not a position you kind of want to be putting your fate into other teams' hands. So we'll see. Besides that, I think, I look at the ladder and I'm just like, it almost like I've watched a lot of the games and I'm like, is that really the ladder? Like, it doesn't feel like some of the teams maybe deserve or are in the position that they are in because of some of the performances. Like, you guys, to be honest, are probably the number one, where I'm like, man, you've really struggled recently with, City away, got smashed by Victory, not really sure, like Wellington at home. And I'm like, okay, but fuck, you're coming, what is it, second, and you've got a game in hand to go top. Like, it just seems weird, but you picked up so many points early, I guess, that you can allow for these slip ups. So that's the beauty of that. Even MacArthur, like, I felt like they were kind of struggling, and even Adelaide at one point. But now I'm looking at it, I'm like, wait, MacArthur are up there, and so are Adelaide. Like, am I seeing this wrong? It's just the way the league is. It's so
You've
weird.
also got teams that have played sometimes less games. Like, we've played 2 games less than some of these teams. So even though it maybe looks tight, if you win the games in hand, that's great. But then it's like, look, we lose 4-0 to Victory. Victory go and play Mariners the week after, who were sitting bottom before the weekend, and lose. And it's like, and then we go out and win against Western Sydney. It's like, it is crazy. It's fucking crazy. Like, we're going to see. The last 10 games, at the end of the day, the teams that manage to probably, even if they're sitting outside of finals right now, if you can win 6 or 7 of those, you probably finish in finals, because there's no other teams around that are going to win as many as that. They're going to win maybe 3 draws, 4 losses, or something around there.
Yeah, it's true. Like, there's 30 points up for grabs, so you think, 30 points, but then you've probably got to play one of the other teams, so you both can't get the points, and you're not going to win everyone. There's going to be a few draws here or there. So it's it'll probably be a really low points tally for the winner.
That's what I was thinking. I would love to see, like, the last couple of years, how many points maybe the top 2 or 3 teams are on, and how many points the bottom, like, 2 or 3 teams are on after 14 or 15 games, like right now.
Yeah, no, it's a good point, and that's what I think makes it interesting. Like, it makes the league. I think it's in Poland as well. It's like first to last. It's like 10 points or 11 points, like something ridiculous like that. And first haven't won in 5, but they're first still. Like, something stupid like that. And it's like,
crazy.
You can look at it and be like, oh, it's a disaster, the league's shit. But it's like, also on the other side, it's like, well, maybe it's just a very even league, which is kind of what you want. You want that equalization. Technically, the salary cap, that's what it's there for. That's not the reason why this is happening right now. But it's making everyone feel like, even the Mariners, who are a bit desperate now, they're looking for an owner, they're near the bottom. But if they win the next 2 games, let's say, and you're like, they've got this Japanese signing coming in, that, I'm going to butcher his name, Ali Ugla. Is that what it is?
Yeah, Ali Ugla, yeah.
Like, what a goal.
What a fucking
Do
goal.
you know what I mean? Like, they're brought, so it's like, a bit of hope now for them. Like, it's one of those ones that, they can turn it around, and all of a sudden they're fighting for finals. So I think it means it's good for the league in terms of, fans still rocking up, because we don't have relegation, which we were both very keen on somehow getting that involved. I don't know how it can, but we very much would love that to happen. But this is probably the season where even if you're coming last into the few rounds, maybe you've still got a chance to make finals. So it's good. I think it's exciting, and that's the most important thing. But going on to the last little segment, I guess, that we can talk about, and we can kind of tie it in with that, with Ali Ugla scoring, is changes to the Australia Cup. And I guess the Oz Championship winner is guaranteed into the round of 32. We've got no New Zealand teams, which I agree with. I think it's the Australia Cup. I know they're in the A-League, but they don't need to be in this. And the winner of the Cup goes into the ACL too, and Wellington and Auckland couldn't get it anyway. So are you happy with those results? And then secondly, do you think the Oz Championship, the biggest win from that is to see players from that championship now come into the A-League and be able to kind of hit the ground running?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think if you're a team that's maybe sitting in the bottom 4, thinking about that fucking shit trip you have to do to Darwin for the Australia Cup playoff after the season, you got to keep training for a little bit, or coming back early from your off season to go and, like, play a game when you've maybe trained for, like, I think we did it at Western United maybe a couple of years ago. We got spanked as well by Newcastle. and it's like you train for like 1 or 2 weeks and then you got to go play that game. So
Is that when you
I
scored the
think
own
it is.
goal?
I think it is good. Yeah, yeah, that was great. You got spanked, scored an own goal. Not good. That's why I'm happy that all the A-League teams now are in the Australia Cup. No
Yeah.
qualification. No, I think it's good. I do think it's good. I think it's great to have the all the A-League teams in. I think all the A-League teams should be in it realistically to make the competition as competitive as possible and have the best quality in there. And then you've obviously got, rewards for the teams that have done well in the Oz Championship. South Melbourne won it. They should go through to the round of 32. And yeah, I don't mind having no New Zealand teams. I get it. I understand it. There's a spot for the ACL2 there. I don't understand why they would be in it. It's even for, to be honest, in the league, like obviously Auckland come top, it's the team that comes second that still gets the qualification regardless. So makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we should be, I think every Australian team should be coming in. My preference would be the Australian teams actually come in around, like the A-League teams come in around earlier in like a round of 64 or however it is, and actually play against a local league team. For me, that would be better. Maybe you could have like the top six or the top two or however it is. They come in round of 32, kind of like the FA Cup has it. Some teams come in round three, some come in round four from the Premier League. I would like, more games. So I think coming in a round earlier, and if you get to play a local league team guaranteed, I think it's good for the local league team as well. There's no travel because it's in the same state. That's really the only change I would make to it. But overall, it's good, and the time has come that we need to wrap this up because I've got training today, and you probably need to get to bed soon.
I've never seen you fucking wrap up a podcast so quickly.
I've just looked at the time and thought it's pushing it, and my goalkeeper that takes me every week, he's probably going to be waiting downstairs, and I'm always late. I'm on level 32, so it does take longer, but I'm always late. I'm
You're in the
always 1 or 2
penthouse.
minutes late. I'm in the penthouse, and he's down in the basement in the slums, so I need to go. But all the best this week.
All
Thanks
right.
everyone for tuning in, and you'll find out, I guess, what happened with the coach selection for this Chirpy Cup game next week.
Love it, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. We've also got some chats with the dads of current players coming to you next week. We've had a few chats that have been very interesting. So looking forward to pushing that out for you guys. But we'll see you all next week. Steph, all the best for your games this week.